You think your life is random, that the people who came by chance, that the doors that closed just happened, that the pain, the delays, the losses were all accidents. But what if that belief is the biggest illusion you're living in? Because in today's world, people are more connected than ever, yet more confused than ever. They chase success, love, money, purpose. But even after getting pieces of it, something inside still feels unfinished. And then life starts doing something strange. It interrupts your plans. It removes what you were holding on to. It delays what you were desperate for. It breaks what you thought was permanent. And suddenly you are left with one silent question burning in your mind. Why is this happening to me right now? But what if that question itself is too small for the truth? What if nothing you are living is random at all? What if every delay is placement? Every loss is direction? Every ending is guidance in disguise? Today we enter the hidden wisdom of Ibn Arabi, where life is not chaos, but meaning you have not understood yet. And once you see it this way, you will never look at your story the same again. Your detours are part of the destination. One of the greatest reasons people suffer is because they become attached to a specific picture of how life is supposed to unfold. We create plans, set deadlines, and imagine exactly how our future should look. We think success should arrive at a certain age, relationships should last forever, and our efforts should always produce the results we expect. But when life takes an unexpected turn, when doors close, opportunities disappear, or plans fall apart, we begin to feel lost. We question ourselves. We question our future. Sometimes we even question Allah's wisdom. Yet Ibn Arabi reminds us of a profound truth. Human beings can only see a tiny piece of the story, while Allah sees the entire book. What looks like a setback today may actually be protecting you from a future you cannot yet see. The path that seems to be leading you away from your dreams may, in reality, be guiding you towards something far better than what you had planned for yourself. Think about the moments in your life that once felt like disasters, the opportunity you didn't get, the relationship that ended, the door that refused to open no matter how hard you tried. At the time, it may have felt like failure, rejection, or loss. But years later, many people look back and realize those very moments saved them from pain, redirected them toward growth, or led them to blessings they could never have imagined. What once felt like a punishment was actually a hidden mercy. This is one of the deepest forms of trust in Allah, to believe that not every closed door is a rejection and not every delay is a mistake. Sometimes Allah guides you by giving. Sometimes He guides you by withholding. Sometimes He leads you forward by changing your direction completely. The truth is that life is not a straight line. The journey to where Allah wants you to be often includes unexpected turns, painful lessons, and roads you never planned to travel. But every step has meaning. Every detour has wisdom. Every delay carries a purpose. What seems like a wrong turn from your limited perspective may actually be the exact road that leads you to your destiny. Because while you can only see the next step, Allah sees the entire journey from beginning to end. Every loss is making room for something new. One of the hardest truths to accept in life is that not everything is meant to stay. People enter our lives, seasons change, opportunities come and go, and sometimes the very things we love most are taken away from us. When this happens, our first reaction is often pain. We ask, why did this happen? We wonder what we did wrong. We focus so much on what we lost that we cannot see what Allah may be preparing to give. Ibn Arabi taught that creation is constantly changing because change itself is part of Allah's design. Nothing in this world was created to remain exactly the same forever. Just as the sun sets to make way for a new dawn, and just as a seed must disappear beneath the soil before it becomes a tree, certain chapters of our lives must come to an end before new ones can begin. The problem is that we become attached to what is familiar. Even when something is no longer good for us, we cling to it because it feels safe. We hold on to relationships that Allah is asking us to outgrow. We chase opportunities that are not meant for us. We mourn closed doors without realizing that Allah may be protecting us from walking into the wrong room. Years later, Many people discover that the loss they once cried over became the turning point that changed their lives for the better. The relationship that ended taught them self-respect. The failure they feared pushed them toward their true purpose. The opportunity they missed opened the door to something far greater. What looked like an ending was actually a beginning in disguise. This is why spiritual wisdom teaches us not to judge events too quickly. We see the loss, but Allah sees the outcome. We see what is being removed, but Allah sees what is about to arrive. The pain is real, but the story is not finished. Sometimes Allah takes something from your hands because He wants to place something better in your heart. Sometimes He removes what you are holding on to so tightly because it is preventing you from receiving what He has written for you. Not every loss is a punishment. Not every ending is a tragedy. Some endings are acts of divine mercy. Some goodbyes are hidden blessings. And sometimes the thing you are grieving today is simply making space for the life Allah has been preparing for you all along. What disturbs you is often trying to teach you. Most people spend their lives running away from discomfort. The moment anxiety appears, they reach for their phone. When sadness comes, they distract themselves. When pain arrives, they look for something, anything, to make it disappear. Modern life has made it easier than ever to avoid facing what is happening inside us. We scroll, watch, consume, and stay busy, hoping our inner struggles will somehow fade away on their own. But Ibn Arabi invites us to see our struggles differently. Instead of asking, "How do I escape this feeling?" he encourages us to ask, "Why has Allah allowed me to experience this feeling in the first place?" Every disturbance carries a lesson. Every struggle contains a message. Every challenge reveals something about the state of our hearts. Sometimes anxiety exposes how desperately we are trying to control things that only Allah can control. Sometimes anger reveals an attachment to our ego. Sometimes jealousy uncovers a desire that has become more important to us than gratitude. And sometimes disappointment reveals that we have placed our hopes entirely in people rather than in Allah. This does not mean every hardship is a punishment. Often it is the opposite. It is an invitation, a wake-up call, a moment of divine wisdom designed to bring us back to ourselves and, more importantly, back to Allah. Think about the periods of your life that changed you the most. They were probably not the easiest moments. Growth rarely happens when everything is comfortable. The strongest faith is often built during uncertainty. The deepest self-awareness is often born from struggle. And the most powerful transformations usually begin when life forces us to confront truths we have been avoiding. Many people ask Allah to change their circumstances, but sometimes Allah is using those circumstances to change them. The storm enters your life not to destroy you, but to reveal what has been hidden within you. It exposes your fears, your weaknesses, your attachments, and your dependence on things that cannot truly save you. What feels like chaos on the surface may actually be a process of purification taking place deep within the soul. The next time something disturbs your peace, do not rush to escape it. Pause for a moment and reflect. Ask yourself what lesson Allah may be showing you through this experience. Because sometimes the pain you are trying to avoid is carrying the very wisdom your soul needs most. What disturbs you today may be the teacher that transforms you tomorrow. The thing you are chasing may not be what you need. One of the greatest illusions of this world is the belief that happiness is always waiting somewhere in the future. People spend years telling themselves, "When I get that job, I'll finally be happy. When I earn more money, I'll finally feel secure. When I find the right relationship, buy the right house, gain more followers, or achieve more success, then my life will feel complete." So they continue chasing, striving, and exhausting themselves, believing that fulfillment lies just beyond the next achievement. But Ibn Arabi understood something that many people spend their entire lives discovering too late. The human soul was not created to be satisfied by temporary things. The problem is not that money, success, relationships, or achievements are bad. They are blessings when used correctly. The problem begins when we expect them to provide what only Allah can provide. We ask temporary things to fill an eternal longing. We expect the world to satisfy a hunger that was placed within us for something far greater. This is why so many people achieve the very things they once dreamed about and still feel empty inside. They reach the destination they thought would complete them, only to discover that the peace they were searching for is still missing. The excitement fades, the achievement becomes normal, the applause grows quiet, and once again, the heart starts searching for something more. The modern world constantly tells us that the answer is to chase harder, earn more, own more, become more. But Ibn Arabi's wisdom points in the opposite direction. He teaches that the restlessness many people feel is not proof that they need more from the world. It is proof that their soul is longing for Allah. Deep down, every human being is searching for meaning, peace, love, certainty, and belonging. We often look for these things in careers, relationships, possessions, and achievements. Yet no matter how beautiful these blessings are, they were never meant to carry the weight of our deepest needs. They can comfort the heart, but they cannot complete it. They can bring happiness, but they cannot become the source of lasting peace. This is why some of the wealthiest people live with anxiety, while some of the simplest people live with contentment. It is why some individuals who seem to have everything still feel lost, while others who possess very little radiate inner peace. The difference is not found in what they own. It is found in where their hearts are anchored. When the heart becomes attached only to worldly things, it remains vulnerable because everything in this world changes. Wealth can disappear, beauty fades, relationships change, success comes and goes. But when the heart becomes attached to Allah, it finds something that cannot be taken away. Perhaps that is why Allah sometimes allows us to feel disappointed by the very things we once believed would make us happy. Not because He wants us to suffer, but because He wants us to discover a deeper truth. He wants us to realize that the ultimate destination of every desire is Him. The promotion you seek, the relationship you desire, the success you dream about, none of these are wrong, but they are not the final answer. They are signs pointing towards something greater. Behind every worldly desire is a deeper longing of the soul, the longing to be close to its Creator. The moment you understand this, everything begins to change. You stop expecting the world to give you what only Allah can give. You still work hard. You still pursue your goals. You still appreciate life's blessings, but your happiness is no longer dependent on them. Your peace is no longer held hostage by circumstances. Because you realize that the thing you have been chasing all your life may not be what you truly need. And what your soul truly needs has been closer to you than your own heartbeat all along. Delays are not denials. Few things challenge the human heart more deeply than waiting. There is a unique kind of struggle that comes when you have done everything you know how to do. You have made the dua. You have worked hard. You have remained patient. You have trusted Allah. Yet despite all your efforts, the answer still seems distant. The opportunity has not arrived. The door remains closed. The situation remains unchanged. And slowly a question begins to grow inside the heart. Why is this taking so long? This question has been asked by countless people throughout history. It is asked by the person waiting for a job after months of rejection. It is asked by the person praying for marriage while watching everyone around them move forward. It is asked by the person carrying a burden that seems to have no end. It is asked by the believer who continues making the same dua year after year, wondering why the answer has not yet appeared. In those moments, waiting can feel heavy. It can feel confusing. It can even feel lonely. The mind begins to create stories. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe Allah is not listening. Maybe my prayer will never be answered. Maybe I have been forgotten. But Ibn Arabi's wisdom invites us to look beyond the surface of our circumstances and see something far deeper. He teaches us that what appears to be a delay from our perspective may actually be perfect timing from Allah's perspective. What we experience as waiting may actually be preparation. What we interpret as silence may actually be divine wisdom unfolding in ways we cannot yet understand. The reality is that human beings are impatient by nature. We want answers now. We want certainty now. We want relief now. We want the future to arrive on our schedule. Yet Allah, in His infinite wisdom, knows that not everything should happen when we want it to happen. Sometimes what we desire is good, but the timing is not. Sometimes the blessing exists, but our hearts are not yet ready to carry it. Sometimes the door is real, but we have not yet become the person capable of walking through it. Imagine giving a child everything they asked for the moment they asked for it. The child may believe they are ready, but wisdom knows otherwise. A loving parent understands that timing matters. Certain things must be delayed until the child has grown enough to benefit from them. The delay is not cruelty, it is care. The waiting is not punishment, it is protection. In a similar way, Allah sees dimensions of reality that remain hidden from us. He knows the consequences of every decision, every opportunity, every relationship, and every path. He sees what would happen if you received what you are asking for today instead of next year. He knows which blessings would elevate you and which might distract you. He knows what your future self will need, even when your present self cannot understand it. This is why some prayers are answered immediately, while others seem to take years. It is not because Allah loves one person more than another. It is because every soul is on a different journey. Every heart is being prepared in a different way. Every story unfolds according to a wisdom that only Allah fully understands. One of the most beautiful truths hidden within waiting is that Allah is often working on you while you are focused on what you are waiting for. We become obsessed with the blessing. Allah becomes concerned with the transformation. We focus on the destination. Allah focuses on who we are becoming during the journey. While you are waiting, patience is being developed within you. While you are waiting, your trust is becoming stronger. While you are waiting, your dependence on Allah is deepening. While you are waiting, parts of your character are being refined in ways that comfort could never achieve. Many people pray for strength, but strength is rarely given instantly. It is built through challenges. Many people pray for wisdom, but wisdom is rarely handed over easily. It is earned through experience. Many people pray for closeness to Allah, but closeness often grows during seasons when there is nowhere else to turn. What if the waiting itself is the answer? What if Allah is giving you something far more valuable than the thing you are asking for? What if He is using this season to shape your heart, deepen your faith, and prepare your soul for a future blessing that would overwhelm you if it arrived too soon? These are the questions spiritual wisdom encourages us to consider. The truth is that many of the people we admire today were shaped by seasons of waiting. The strongest believers often pass through long periods of uncertainty. The people with the deepest faith were not necessarily those who received everything quickly. Often they were those who learned how to trust Allah when they could not see the outcome. Think about your own life for a moment. If you look back carefully, you will probably find moments that once felt like frustrating delays, but later revealed themselves as hidden blessings. Perhaps there was an opportunity you desperately wanted that never happened. At the time, you felt disappointed, yet years later you realized it would have taken you away from something better. Perhaps there was a relationship you begged Allah to preserve, only to discover later that its ending protected your peace. Perhaps there was a door that remained closed despite your efforts, only for another door to open that changed your life completely. At the time, you could not see the wisdom. Looking back, it became obvious. This is often how Allah's plan works. We rarely understand it while we are living through it. The understanding comes later. The meaning becomes clear only after the chapter has ended. What once looked like a delay begins to look like guidance. What once felt like rejection begins to look like mercy. Ibn Arabi reminds us that Allah is not absent from the waiting. He is present within it. Every moment of uncertainty is known to Him. Every tear, every prayer, every moment of frustration, every whispered hope is heard by Him. The waiting does not mean He has forgotten you. The waiting does not mean your prayer has been ignored. The waiting does not mean your story has stopped moving forward. In reality, Allah may be arranging thousands of unseen details behind the scenes. He may be moving circumstances into place. He may be protecting you from something you cannot see. He may be preparing hearts, opportunities, lessons, and experiences that will eventually lead you exactly where you need to be. Because Allah's timing is not based on your impatience. It is based on His wisdom. And His wisdom sees what your eyes cannot. So if you find yourself waiting today, do not lose hope. Continue making dua. Continue trusting. Continue taking the steps you can take. Continue believing that Allah's plan is greater than your understanding. Do not allow the silence of the moment to convince you that nothing is happening. A seed buried beneath the soil appears inactive, yet beneath the surface, an extraordinary process is taking place. Roots are growing, life is developing. Preparation is happening long before anything becomes visible. The same is true for many blessings in your life. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean Allah is not working. Just because the answer has not arrived does not mean it never will. And just because the door remains closed today does not mean it will remain closed forever. One day, you may look back on this season and realize that what felt like the longest delay of your life was actually one of Allah's greatest gifts. You may discover that if things had happened when you wanted them to happen, they would not have carried the same beauty, the same wisdom, or the same blessing. Because in the hidden wisdom of life, delays are not denials. They are often Allah's way of giving you the right thing, at the right time, in the right way. And when that moment finally arrives, you will understand why it was worth every moment of waiting. Every person you meet arrives with a purpose. One of the deepest insights in Ibn Arabi's wisdom is the understanding that nothing in life is random, including the people who cross your path. Every human being you encounter enters your life carrying a role, even if that role is not immediately obvious. Some arrive as blessings, some arrive as lessons, and some arrive as tests that reveal the hidden parts of your own heart. At first glance, it may seem like people come and go by chance. You meet someone through work, through family, through friendship, or even through a brief moment in time, and it feels ordinary. But when you look deeper, you begin to realize that certain people leave a lasting impact that cannot be explained by coincidence alone. They change your thinking, shape your emotions, or redirect your life in ways you never expected. Ibn Arabi teaches that the world is not a collection of disconnected events. It is a web of divine wisdom unfolding through experience. Every interaction is part of a larger design, even the ones that feel painful or confusing in the moment. The person who supports you during your lowest point is not just a comfort. They may be a reminder of Allah's mercy. The person who challenges your ego is not just an obstacle. They may be a mirror showing you what needs to be refined within yourself. Even difficult relationships carry hidden purpose. Sometimes a person enters your life to expose weaknesses you were unaware of. Sometimes they reveal your attachment to pride, control, or expectations. Sometimes they teach you patience in ways comfort never could. And sometimes they leave your life suddenly, not as punishment, but as a form of protection or redirection toward a better path. We often judge people too quickly. We label them as good or bad based on how they make us feel in a specific moment. But spiritual wisdom asks us to slow down and reflect. What if the person who hurt you most also awakened the strongest version of you? What if the relationship that ended painfully actually saved you from a future you could not yet see? What if the stranger who appeared briefly in your life carried a message or moment that stayed with you forever? In the larger picture of life, every person becomes part of your story, even if they are only present for a short chapter. Some stay long enough to walk with you through multiple seasons. Others appear briefly, like a passing lesson written into a single moment. But none of it is wasted. None of it is meaningless. Ibn Arabi's perspective shifts the way we see human connection. Instead of viewing people as random arrivals, we begin to see them as part of a meaningful unfolding. Each encounter carries something for the soul to learn, whether it is gratitude, forgiveness, strength, awareness, or surrender. Even silence between people, even separation, even endings, all of it contains wisdom if you are willing to reflect deeply enough. When you understand this, your heart becomes more aware and less reactive. You stop clinging to people in fear and stop resenting them in pain. Instead, you begin to ask a different question. What is Allah teaching me through this person? Because once you see life through this lens, no relationship is ever truly empty. Every person becomes a teacher in disguise. And in this realization, the heart begins to soften. Gratitude replaces confusion. Acceptance replaces resistance. And you begin to see that even the people who left your life were never truly outside the plan of Allah. They were always part of it. The entire story of your life is leading you back to Allah. At the deepest level of Ibn Arabi's wisdom, lies a truth that changes the way a person sees everything that happens in life. It is the understanding that life is not a scattered series of random events, nor is it a chain of disconnected experiences. Instead, it is a single unfolding journey, carefully guided, gently shaped, and continuously directed toward one ultimate reality: returning to Allah. From the surface, life can feel confusing. There are moments of success followed by moments of loss. There are periods of clarity followed by seasons of uncertainty. There are times when everything seems aligned, and other times when nothing makes sense at all. People often try to interpret these moments separately, as if each event stands alone. But Ibn Arabi invites us to step back and see the entire picture. Every experience, whether sweet or painful, is part of a deeper movement of the soul toward its creator. The human being is constantly searching, even when they do not realize it. Some search for happiness in achievements, others in relationships, others in wealth, status, or recognition. Yet no matter how much they gather, something always remains incomplete. This feeling of incompleteness is not a flaw. It is a reminder. It is the soul remembering its true origin. It is the heart quietly pointing back toward the one it came from. This is why nothing in life fully satisfies the heart for long. Success brings joy, but it fades. Love brings comfort, but it changes. Wealth brings security, but it can disappear. Even the things we once thought would complete us eventually lose their power to satisfy the deepest longing within. Ibn Arabi explains this not as a failure of life, but as a sign that the heart was never created for anything less than Allah. Every experience in your life is gently guiding you toward this realization. The joy you feel in blessings is meant to awaken gratitude. The pain you feel in loss is meant to awaken dependence. The confusion you feel in uncertainty is meant to awaken trust. And the emptiness you sometimes experience is not meant to break you, but to redirect you toward the one who can truly fill it. When you begin to see life through this lens, even the most difficult moments begin to change meaning. A heartbreak is no longer just a wound. It becomes a reminder to turn inward and reconnect with Allah. A failure is no longer just an ending. It becomes a lesson in humility. A delay is no longer just frustration. It becomes a space where patience and trust are developed. Everything begins to point in one direction, even when it appears otherwise on the surface. Ibn Arabi's insight is not that life is always easy, but that life is always meaningful. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is outside divine awareness. Every moment, whether understood or not, is part of a greater movement towards spiritual awakening. Even the moments you resisted most in the past may later become the moments you are most grateful for, because they redirected you when you did not know you needed to be redirected. There is a quiet but powerful truth hidden in all of this. You were never meant to be fully satisfied by the world itself. You were meant to travel through the world, not settle your heart in it. The world is not your final destination. It is a passage, a journey, a series of signs pointing you back home. And home, in the deepest spiritual sense, is not a place. It is a state of return, a return to awareness of Allah, a return to reliance on Him, a return to love, trust, and recognition of the one who has been guiding you even when you could not see it. This is why life often feels like a cycle of searching and returning. You search in the world, you feel temporary fulfillment, and then you return to emptiness again. But each cycle is not meaningless. Each cycle is refining your understanding. Each cycle is slowly teaching your heart where true peace does and does not exist. Ibn Arabi's wisdom reveals that even when you feel far from Allah, the journey itself is still moving you closer. Because sometimes closeness is not felt in emotions, but formed in transformation. Sometimes Allah brings you near by removing distractions. Sometimes He brings you near by breaking illusions. Sometimes He brings you near through ease, and sometimes through difficulty, but always with the same purpose: to bring you back to Him. When you reflect deeply, you begin to realize that every path you have walked, even the ones that seem like detours, were leading you somewhere meaningful. The moments of loss taught you detachment. The moments of success taught you gratitude. The moments of confusion taught you reliance. And the moments of silence taught you patience. nothing was random. Nothing was wasted. Everything was part of shaping your heart. And as this realization grows within you, something slowly shifts inside. You stop seeing life as a series of disconnected events and start seeing it as a guided journey. You stop asking only, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this bringing me closer to?" You stop measuring life only by comfort and begin measuring it by connection to Allah. Because in the end, Ibn Arabi's deepest wisdom is this: every path you walk, every moment you live, every joy you experience, and every pain you endure is quietly, gently, and constantly guiding you back to the one you were created for. And when you finally arrive at that understanding, life no longer feels like confusion. It feels like return. It feels like meaning. It feels like home. Conclusion. In the end, when you step back from everything you've lived, something begins to become clear. The moments you called pain, the things you called loss, the delays you thought were unfair, the endings you couldn't understand, none of it was empty. None of it was random. Because life was never just happening to you, it was shaping you. Shaping your patience when you wanted speed. Shaping your trust when you wanted certainty. Shaping your heart when you were holding on to the wrong things. And quietly guiding you towards something deeper than all your plans. And maybe that's what Ibn Arabi was pointing toward all along, that nothing truly happens by accident. Not the doors that open, not the doors that close, not the people who stay, not the people who leave. Everything is moving you, even when it feels like you are standing still. So the question is no longer, "Why is this happening to me?" but rather, "What is this leading me toward?" Because one day you will look back at the very things that once broke you and realize they were the same things that brought you back to yourself and back to Allah. And in that realization, you will understand nothing was against you. It was all guiding you home.